Hi, my name is Devin Quinn, and so let's see, marginalized narratives, huh? Okay, so I guess if you're talking about whether or not I identify as someone who has been marginalized, I would think yes. And I kind of have the triple threat of marginalization, if you will. So I'm queer, I'm Hispanic, and I'm HIV positive. And so there were a lot of different things at different times in my life that played into that. I didn't realize there was marginalization until I became older and more self-aware, and it became more prolific in my life. So when I was younger, I got teased a lot for being Cuban, especially during the crisis of the Elian Gonzalez refugee issue. People would ask if you were coming over on a raft or if I had a ham radio, all that kind of jacked up nonsense. And you take that with a grain of salt and you take that with good faith, but you're a kid, so you don't know any better. As I got older, I realized that kind of that was really pervasive in how I began to identify my own personal truth, and it really affected my personality and how I presented myself and how I conducted myself. When I realized that I identified as gay and later queer, that also changed my perspective on things, and it also changed my reality in terms of I felt already that I was part of a small community. I'm in a Midwestern town, I don't know a lot of people, and now I am identifying as someone who is heavily stigmatized due to my sexuality. So that felt like, all right, we're taking this large group of people, putting it in a small group of people, now we're putting it in a smaller group of people. And then when I was in my early 20s, I was diagnosed as being HIV positive. So then you put yourself in a smaller group of people that's even more stigmatized. And actually, there are certain laws that affect HIV positive people that are really, really draconian and messed up. And by this time, I was kind of tired of feeling that I had no control over my situation and that society had dictated rules to me that I had to follow. So I decided to flip my narrative, and I decided to turn it on its head. I began speaking publicly about my journey as a person of color, as a gay person, as a person living with HIV, and I turned that into a journey where it took me across the country. It took me actually out of the country for the first time in my life, where I've worked with other people of color who are affected by HIV. It became a huge driving force, and in fact, that's what I do now. Whereas I had no direction, no ambition, because I felt kind of out of place in society due to the fact that I was put in specific boxes by society. It allowed me to see that I had a lot of opportunity to affect the change I wanted to see in the lives of others. And so now what I do is I counsel people who have been diagnosed with HIV, and I show them what life can be like if you want to take control of the situation and not let other people have power over you and not let other people's stigma affect your life. Because that is really the issue that I work heavily in, is stigma. And I tell my clients, there's two kinds of stigma in the world. There's external and internal. So external stigma is the stigma we feel from the outside world, where people make fun of us, or they demean us, or they say things about us in passing that directly negate our authenticity or our own sense of self. And then there is just who we are as individuals. And then there is internal stigma, and this is the stigma you place on yourself because of the outside world's perceptions on you, or what you perceive to be their perceptions. For people who are HIV positive and for people of color, it can be, I don't want to be targeted for a specific reason, so I'm going to lie low, I'm going to perform things in my life in a certain way so it meets the expectations of society, which I was raised in a counterculture family, so I've always tried to fight against that, and it really fell into place when I became an advocate for people who didn't have a voice of their own. I remember the first time feeling that I had been profiled by the police. I remember the first time the first time I was ever followed in a museum. I remember the first time I was followed in a grocery store, because I am just a person of color, and for some reason, just despite what I consider to be normal clothing, or it doesn't even matter what normal is or what normal isn't. I was just myself there in a place to participate like any member of society. I was being targeted based off really ridiculous perceptions that people had been crammed into. So I think it's all about flipping your narrative and changing how the world perceives you and challenging people's opinions so they no longer have the ability to have power over you. And that is what I've tried to do with my life, so I can live it as authentically and as powerfully as I can.
We have a lot of